Thank you.
Oh, Zoe, she was prepared.
Has anybody got a pair of bongo drums?
We have a steel drum.
I have bongo drums. Yes, we have some.
No sound effects.
Rhetorical question.
This is bad enough on its own. Can we get that off and leave these
Lights
on?
down.
Get what off?
There we go. There we go.
Mood lighting.
Can you still see?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, you can see Shelley.
Yeah.
All right,
Uh,
You got
kids,
reading
listen.
glasses on.
This is an essay that I wrote for a magazine a couple of years ago, which actually an essay contest. I did not win. I did not get honorable mention, but my heart is filled with admiration, jealousy, and rage because my sister got her article published. And I saved this, and I would like to share it with you here tonight. But before I do, I think that all the public speaking instruction textbooks tell you to start
Hey, hold that for me.
anything
Look
with
at
a
another
joke.
camera.
So here is the joke. What did Snow White say while at the photo shop?
What?
Someday my prince will come. There you go, thank you.
Still going?
Correct. Keep positive.
going.
Okay.
Back up.
Lisa, always quick on the uptake. PhD and takes 2 hours to get a joke.
There are no jokes in the dissertation.
All right.
Oh, that's
Quiet
true.
on set. Quiet on set.
Right on set, I have an essay here. This is short. It's less than 1,200 words. Won't take long, but I think it has meaning for everyone in this room, particularly in our conversation today out there, particularly for my mother, and for anyone who grew up in the generation represented by me and my wife and my sister, my brother and my cousin Stevie and Francois and Cindy and Robert and my mother, and maybe much less so the other younger. But it's always good, as Marcia said, to come among people and see new friends and see old friends and see new faces and see faces we already know. So here we go. That was a joke too. New faces over. All right, I need my other spectacles. I have them right here. My other prop.
Oh, he's prepared.
Okay, here we go. The essay contest was entitled, "What is the Future of Science Literacy?" Essay contest, Seed Magazine, July 2008. My journey toward science literacy began in 1960 while I was reading in the dim glow of my little Replogal World Globe nightlight. It was here that I first encountered the term light year. I learned that a light year is not a measure of time, but instead a measure of distance. And what a distance. It was as if a heavy curtain had lifted, revealing the mighty expanse of infinity before me. At that time, my 4th grade science education consisted of activities like holding a glass upside down in a pail of water, in a study of air pressure, and something having to do with a comb, bits of paper, and static electricity. But now, here before me, was an astounding thing called a light year. My view of the world was never the same. A couple of years before, our parents had given us kids perhaps the best gift I have ever received, the 1958 edition of the World Book Encyclopedia. Each heavy blue cloth-bound volume contained page after glossy page of lavish color plates, literate articles, and occasionally outdated black and white photographs. Only much later did I realize that the most important thing the World Book offered was respect for its readers. Even a 4th grader like me. Nowhere was it tarted up with primary colors and moronic little "did you know" boxes. Nor was the text dumbed down for a TV generation accustomed to one-syllable words and pre-digested, as well as socially and politically corrected information. Night after night, throughout my childhood, I went to sleep reading a volume of the World Book. Like any good, earnest fourth grader, I read keenly and often about the human reproductive organs, and with morbid gusto about the torture of the heretics. But I also read about animals, chemicals, light years, Ceylon and Formosa. Remember, it's 1958. I read about explorers, presidents, aborigines, and atomic bombs. I remember vividly the image of a pale gray circle depicting the area destroyed by an A-bomb, and the much larger pink circle showing the vastly greater destructive power of a hydrogen bomb. In October 1962, at the terrifying peak of the Cuban Missile Crisis, I recall those images, and I understood why my mother wept behind her closed bedroom door. I did not fully understand the difference between fission and fusion, but I knew that while an atomic bomb was bad, a hydrogen bomb was thermonuclear and was thus really, really bad. Nor did I understand Bernoulli's principle about low pressure and fluid dynamics. But I was nearly hooted off the playground when I tried to tell my friends that kites and sailboats were actually airfoils and were pulled by the wind, not pushed. So for me, science literacy has always been a mistress with two faces. Kites and sailboats on one side, H-bombs on the other. Indeed, scientific progress itself almost always arrives freighted with both good and ill. The chemical DDT killed all the boll weevils and nearly killed all the bald eagles. Then, whither science literacy in the 21st century? My sisters and my brother and I had the World Book with which to make our acquaintance with science. Certainly, those big blue books, out of date even before the presses started to run, cannot compare to the timeliness, depth, and sheer volume of data offered by even the simplest online computer. But a kid at the computer misses that tactile dimension, the heft and solid authority of a book, its cloth cover, its slick pages, its crisply printed text, which to me was like received wisdom. And unlike the ephemeral image on a computer screen, which I learned from the World Book, that which I learned from the World Book has stayed with me for 50 years. More important, the very process of learning shaped the way I perceived the world, sifted its relentless onslaught of information, and decided what to keep and what to throw away. My own science literacy was gained by using more senses: vision, touch, and yes, those World Books had a distinctive smell, one which I always associated with the incomparable pleasure of learning something new. Knowledge gained using more than one sense is gained more pleasurably and retained much longer. I was lucky. My generation had toys with sharp edges and pointed sticks, like erector sets and tinker toys. We had toy guns, BB guns, and cat pistols. In July, we had real black cat firecrackers, whose scientific applications were without limit. We also had a true neighborhood environment in which children could safely roam about and create enough play to fill an entire summer day. And if any kid ever tried to set a play date, we would have started him toward science literacy with a study of gravity by taking him to the nearest treehouse and throwing him out. In this age, as in any age, the journey toward science literacy must start early in life. But the tools are simple. Books first, computer later. A good quality magnifying glass, string and a cotton handkerchief, some balsa wood and some glue. Later on, throw in some firecrackers and bottle rockets, and the fun really starts, doesn't it, Johnny? A child on a walk in the park, the magnifying glass, and an adult guide is a child on an odyssey of joy. A toy parachute teaches a kid about gravity and the power of moving air. So does a homemade kite. When you teach a kid how to build a sandcastle, You can tell him in simple terms about the connection between why wet sand sticks together and why a siphon hose can move water even uphill. He'll understand if you tell him it's because water molecules really like each other and they always try to stay together. Then, explain what a molecule is. Now you're getting set up to show him over time how everything is connected. That connection is science literacy, and the kid is on his way. The end.
All